Hi, welcome to Filmmaker Central. I'm Kerry Garrison, and today we're taking a look at the Feelworld F6 external monitor. So stay right there. We'll be right back. Hey folks, when you're looking for an external monitor, there's so many to choose from, and the prices are all over the place. There are cheap $60 monitors, and there's $600 monitors and $1,000 monitors, $2,000 monitors. How do you choose what to get? And it comes down to what do you need and what's your budget? Well, if you're like me and you're often on a budget, then sometimes we're not going to get the best of the best of the best, but there are good options out there. And this is one of the best options that I've used in a long time. This is the Feelworld F6 monitor. Now, this particular one, if you see here, says MCW Cinema. This one I got from Multicopter Warehouse. It's their brand, but it is the Feelworld F6 monitor. If you buy a bunch of them, they'll put your logo on there. And since you know, I work there, it's a good place to get these. And I'll give you a discount code at the end so you can get one of these for yourself, a little bit of a deal. But these are only $179, and it's a great monitor. Now, first off, why do you need an external monitor? Well, if you're just hand holding, you probably don't. But if it's on a gimbal, you probably do, because it's really hard to see the back of your camera, and your display is very small and may not have a lot of the cool features that an external monitor has. Now, this particular one can accept a 4K input and display it onto the 1920 1280 display, standard full-size HDMI input. It can take 12 volt DC in, as well as provide 12 volt DC out. So if you have a dummy battery for your camera, you can run the power from the monitor into the dummy battery and power your camera. Now, I just have a bunch of these little NPF 50 batteries. Probably not enough to run the monitor and my camera for an extended period of time, but there's the big 970s, which certainly can, or if you're running in a studio with 12 volt power from an AC block, then that may make a total amount of sense to run from here into a dummy battery and just keep everything powered all day long. On three of the sides, the top, the bottom, and the left, are 1/4 screws for different mount options. And it has this very cool flip arm. So if I want to film myself, I can have it one direction. If I want to be behind the camera, I can just flip it over and use it the other way. So that's kind of handy. And it also has a little screen on here to cut down a little bit of light, but it includes this larger one that you don't want to be putting on when you are recording audio because of all the Velcro. But it fits on nice and secure and provides some really good sun protection if you're shooting outside. This is not a very bright screen. I believe it's somewhere around 460 nits, something like that. So it's definitely not a high bright display by any means, but the sunshade really helps. If you need a really bright one, Feelworld has much brighter displays. But this, for my purposes and for $179, is fantastic. Now, when I said features, what does it have? Well, it has a peaking filter, so I can see if I'm overexposing stuff. Has anamorphic mode, so if I'm running an anamorphic lens, I can de-squeeze it and actually see what that's really going to look like versus the squished version that I would see on the back of my camera. Has false color mode, which can really help if you're trying to get exposures set just right. Exposure meter and a histogram. The histogram's really handy. And you can have different things on at a time, so you're not just limited to one thing at a time. The image flip, some scaling features, so you can scale in and really make sure that your focus is dialed in right, and a center marker. There's a handful of features that are on this thing, which is pretty amazing for the cost. And so I could rave about this thing all day. The features are great. There's three things. I think there's three things that I'm not super thrilled about. One is The menu system could be a little easier to navigate. It's not bad, it's just not really intuitive. On the top, you have menu, left and right, and the power, and on the other side, F1, F2, A, F3, and VF4. Or that's up and down, I suppose. You know, you look at it, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And like a lot of products like this, the manual isn't super good, but it just takes a little bit of practice to get used to the menus. So that's not a deal breaker by any stretch. Once you have it set up, you're really not touching it. You can set a couple of these as custom buttons for whatever modes you want. So once you have it set up, you're really not ever messing with the menus. So not a big deal at all. Another one, let's go ahead and put the battery in and I'll show you. So one thing I'm not a big fan of when it comes to lights or monitors like this is soft switches. And that means that it's always drawing power waiting for you to push the on-off button. And in this case, it also displays an LED light to let you know that it's off, even though the LED is on. So if this sits for basically like a week, it's going to drain the battery. So anytime you have something with soft switches, you have to yank the battery out when you're not using it, or the battery will go dead over time. And I really wish they would switch to just a flip toggle switch on these, just to make it that much more secure on the power side, where you're not going to be draining the batteries when it's not being used. The other gripe I have is the battery release. It's inside this little recess. So you have to push your finger in and then push on the battery and smash your finger every single time. Now, I'm switching batteries quite a bit in this thing, so that's kind of obnoxious. And there's, like, Aperture used to do the exact same thing, and eventually they went to a side button to release the batteries. And I hope Feelworld does that on some of their newer monitors. But with my big monster fingers, I end up smashing my finger every time I have to change the battery. So again, none of those are deal breakers because it's only $179. So you get what you pay for, but you are getting some really good quality. The housing is plastic, so it may not take a good drop or anything, but it's really built well. And I have no complaints about the build quality itself. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it onto the hot shoe. Well, in fact, before I do that, I actually want to mention that this arm and the hot shoe mount are metal. So they're not gonna, you can't over tighten them and break them. That's not gonna happen. It also has a cold shoe mount on the side, so you can attach a light or a microphone. Pretty handy features for that. So I'll go ahead and slide it into my hot shoe, tying it down, and it's very secure. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to run a micro HDMI cable into the HDMI port, and we'll power this guy on, and I'll flip it over so we can take a look at it. Helps if I turn it on. Let's see here. Okay, light turned orange, telling me it's coming up. It says field monitor. And now I'll turn the camera on. And we have the picture from the camera. And like I said, what's really cool about this one is it does do the false color, it does focus peaking, it does the histogram. So I can see a lot of information right there on the screen. Now, at the moment, I have my Sony menus overlaid on it from the last time I was using it like that, but I can definitely turn those off and have a clean HDMI signal on here. Now, when you're looking at the Feelworld monitors, you'll notice there's a lot of similarities between some of the different models, because they have a lot of different models. And sometimes it's going to be power in and power out. Sometimes it might be HDMI in and HDMI out. So decide kind of what features that you want and pick the monitor that best suits your particular needs. This one also has a headphone jack out, so I can monitor the audio and make sure that I'm getting a clean feed. So for, like I said, for the price, I think this is probably the best value in external monitors. Given the feature set that it has, you just can't go wrong. I'm going to be playing with some anamorphic lenses. It has an anamorphic mode, so it will de-squeeze, where I won't see that on the back of my camera. It'll just be all squished, so there's that. Outdoor performance, well, it's not that bright. I mentioned that earlier. It's not going to be a good outdoor one, but the fact that it does come with the sunshade, and this is felt lined inside, so you don't get reflections in it. It really kills the light coming in. Works really well. I've used it outside without it. I've used it with it. I definitely prefer it with it outside. I put this on my my different gimbals, the Ronin S, the Moza Aircross. Just love it because it's so lightweight. When you're working on a gimbal, you don't want to add a ton of weight with a big bulky monitor. So I think the F6 is a perfect fit for when you're working with lightweight handheld gimbals. So I'll put some descriptions and some links below of places that you can order it. And if you're looking for an inexpensive monitor that is packed with features, check out the Feelworld F6. I think you will not be disappointed with it. It's a fantastic monitor for the price. Feelworld has higher end monitors, absolutely. So if you're looking for something a little higher end, they have them, and they're all available at different retailers. So hopefully I'll be doing more reviews on the Feelworld monitors because I'm a huge fan of their products. I've been a dealer for Feelworld for like 5 years on some of their other products. Huge fan, love the F6, check it out. If you like these videos, you'll want to see more review videos, like, subscribe, check that bell icon to get notified whenever there's a new video come out. You'll get a notification. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Kerry with Filmmaker Central, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.